It's the 31st of October, 2025. I wanted to share an update on the aid being allowed into Gaza, or the aid not being allowed into Gaza, really. Before we carry on, if you're watching this on TikTok and the profile you're watching it on has less than 340,000 followers, you're not watching this on the original account. Don't get scammed. Don't respond to crypto or private messages asking for Telegram, WhatsApp numbers. Don't get scammed. Okay, now, as part of the ceasefire deal that many are understandably very skeptical of, Israel agreed with the Palestinian resistance forces brokered by the likes of Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and the US. Israel agreed to 600 aid trucks being allowed into Gaza per day. Aid trucks. By the way, that agreement gives away the fact, the reality on the ground that Israel restricts aid, because they said, okay, we'll allow this much aid in. So, the Israeli narrative completely breaks down there, but really, Israeli narratives break down all the time. Just think about it for longer than 20 seconds. Do 20 seconds of Google search, and you can break down almost any Israeli narrative. Now, estimates from aid organizations on the ground report an average of just 100 aid trucks being allowed into Gaza per day. Did you hear me say that Israel agreed to 600? Yes. Did you hear me say that they're only allowing 100? Yes, that's true. It's a pathetic amount that really comes nowhere near the amount of aid the civilians, kids, right? Women, unarmed, men and women, right? It's the aid they need in the besieged Palestinian territory of Gaza. Aid that Israel says, no. Today I bring you news of the latest method by which Israel is slowing down the aid entering Gaza. Learn, verify if you don't believe me, and then, of course, spread the news. They have ordered the Israeli state international aid organizations to re-register as verified aid organizations, following additional rules that the Israeli state have just slapped into place. Conditions that they have slapped into place, if not met by the aid organizations, those organizations are simply not authorized to take aid into Gaza. It's a classic example of when a state might make something legal, but that doesn't make it right. A state might make something illegal, doesn't make it wrong necessarily, especially when the state itself is extremely problematic. Now, among the conditions the Israeli state have put in place new rules for aid organizations. One of their conditions is that every Palestinian member of the aid organization in question has to be listed, and their names has to be handed over to the Israeli state to do with whatever they want. Anyone critical of the state, not allowed in. Anyone who has mentioned boycotting of Israel in the last 7 years, anywhere on social media, a quick check by the Israeli state, if they find anywhere, they're not allowed in. This isn't just Palestinian groups complaining about these rules, by the way. International aid organizations, including the likes of Oxfam. In Britain here, we have Oxfam. It's a charity, right? It's focused primarily on children. Bernardo's Oxfam, they are among the groups who are having to re-register, and they are among the groups who have not re-registered because they don't want to give that list of names to the Israelis when they know that the Israeli state has taken out aid workers in the hundreds. So why would I just give a list to people who will then potentially work through that list, just take out whoever they want? Anyone who's looking at them funny, or anyone who they're like, oh, this person's giving me a bad vibe, I need to defend myself in their, chest cavity, with a bullet. I need to defend myself. Anything goes. Remember, they're the ones in power. The Israeli defense forces, they're the ones in power on the ground, especially beyond the yellow line. So aid organizations like Oxfam, they have had their aid denied at the border into Gaza. They can't get it in by Israel because they have not registered to Israel's satisfaction and satisfied the conditions, these made-up conditions that Israel's just newly put in place. No registering, no entry. Established sources say roughly $50 million worth of goods, food, hygiene products for women, crutches, baby formula, is sitting at the border, not being allowed in because Israel has imposed these new rules on aid organizations. What's the justification? What's the justification from the Israeli side? Let's hear what they have to say. They say it's there. These new measures are there to prevent resistance forces of the H group from infiltrating the aid organizations. Can't have that, right? Can't have these operatives taking control of the baby formula. Who knows what they will do? Improvised lactational devices, weapons of mass nutrition. Guys, we need to defend ourselves, right? Completely justified. 100 trucks a day, when 600 are needed according to the United Nations. I'm not just making that up. We're not relying on the flipping Gaza Health Ministry that BBC keeps saying is H group run. Not to mention the heavy equipment that's going to be needed to rebuild Gaza, provide actual homes. When's the last time you lived with your whole family, your habigushti, as we Bengalis would say, in your whole family in a tent, permanent tent? When's the last time? Have you tried living in a tent? Bruv, how are these people going to have homes rebuilt when you don't allow heavy equipment in? Why? Dual use, H group might take the heavy equipment and, I don't know, use them to build more tunnels. Blah, 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 blah. So, 100 trucks where there should be 600. Heavy equipment not allowed in when it's obviously needed for the continued survival of civilians in the, potentially in the region of 2 million civilians still in Gaza. And we're not even, don't even get me started on the attacks Israel has continued to carry out during the ceasefire. Don't even get me started on the 68,000 Palestinians who have lost their lives. Where is the justice for them? Or those who are keen to learn about, how the world works? I just wanted to let you know. I just want to wrap up by saying it's not hopeless. It's not dark with no light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel. One hopes for the civilians of Gaza. But know this, the facts on the ground, all over the world, including here in historic Palestine, show one thing. One thing that I want to convey to you, one thing I would encourage you to research to verify that my claim is legitimate in your opinion. I claim that I then I invite you to spread an understanding of amongst your friends and family. The claim is, the universal language understood and accepted by any state is one. That language is not English, it's not Arabic, and it's not Hebrew. That language all groups and all nation states understand is one. The language of strength, the language of power. The stateless Palestinian people lack the military and political power to push back against the Israeli siege of Gaza to establish any semblance of a just, stable state for the Palestinian natives of the land. They are unable to acquire that state at this moment in time. That's why Israel can break the ceasefire and reimpose it whenever they want. We're going to break it, we're going to drop some, and then we're going to say the ceasefire is back in place. It's like a light switch for them. That's why. Because they have the power, and their adversary does not. The adversary is the stateless people, basically. That's why they can make up a reason and unilaterally stop aid getting to hungry civilians, because they have the power, they have the strength, and the other side does not. That's why the Israeli state have spent the last 2 years doing whatever they want in Gaza, and nobody has stopped them, because the Israeli state has the power, and their US backers had the power. And the stateless Palestinians have largely been left to fend for themselves by the governments of the region and the world. If I start complaining about governments, I'll start not complaining, but giving you the facts. Some governments will get upset. Some agents will phone me up or message me on WhatsApp, or just watch me very carefully from certain states in the Middle East, for example, thinking, oh, this is a critique of my state. Well, yeah, stop. Your state sucks at, doing what is right. So what do you want me to do? Fix up, and then I'll report that, oh, this state's fixed up. Great. Now, letting my bias show. Apologies. No strength, no power. That's the truth I want you to understand. The geopolitical reality, whatever side you're on, the reality that strength and power is what is needed to get your way on a national level, on a geopolitical world stage. You don't have that, what are you going to do? Appeal to country's morality? LOL! L for lol, L for taking the L. You're going to lose. Big time. But here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Times are changing. Israel's power, by way of their allies on the world stage, is slipping. APAC and APAC equivalents across the Western world, i.e., pro-Israel lobbies, are seeing their influence crumble in the face of citizens that take out their phone, look at the reality on the ground and say, I smell BS, and it's not coming from the opposition, it's coming from the Israeli state hasbara, the narrative, the Israeli state propaganda. Millions, tens of millions are calling BS, even in the Western world. And that is leading to APAC and APAC equivalents in Australia, in the UK, in France, in Germany, crumbling. Their influence is waning, if not crumbling. The one with power today may find themselves powerless tomorrow. And how you can contribute, well, that's up to you to find out how to do. I'm here just to report to you the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mahfouz, or NewsBaba. I thank you for watching my video. I encourage you to talk about what we've talked about here. I encourage you to share my video, like it, bookmark it, comment, subscribe, whatever platform I'm on. Do the things to help me reach more people. And thank you for your support. It really does mean a lot. And I'll see you on the next one.